I recently spent 1 month living in Kyoto, Japan, and the most common reaction I get from people is, wow, I really want to go to Japan, but I'm afraid that it's so expensive. And in this video, I'm going to show you how affordable Japan can be, what I did to keep my costs low, and how I managed to spend only 1,070 euros in my 4 weeks in Kyoto, Japan. Usually the most expensive parts of travels is accommodation, and this is also where you have the most saving potential. In my 1 month in Kyoto, I spent 600 euros on accommodation, plus another 34 euros on accommodation tax, which you have to pay in Kyoto. Getting an accommodation like this is not that simple. And I actually tried out a few things until I got to this option, and I stayed at Fujitaya B&B, which I can highly recommend. So how did I manage to get an accommodation for only 600 euros? Well, it's quite simple. If you book on a nightly basis, you will usually pay a higher price. However, if you book 1 month at the same time, you get a monthly rate, which is usually 30 up to 50% cheaper. So that's what I did. I actually specifically looked for co-living spaces, Airbnb and shared flats, and then I compared a bit, and I found this one because it had a good location and the price was right, and I did not regret it. The second most expensive item on my list is food. I divided this into supermarkets and eating out, and I must say I do enjoy cooking, so I actually did buy a lot of food at the supermarket or like groceries, and then I cooked myself, which saved me quite some money. So in the entire month in Japan, I spent 159 euros, and this equals about 5 euros a day. For restaurants, I spent about 46 euros, and I really only ate out maybe once or twice a day. An average meal I would buy would cost around 5 to 7 euros. So how can you save money on food? There are three things that actually worked really well for me in terms of saving money for food. First of all, I enjoy cooking myself. Secondly, there are convenies like the Japanese supermarkets, and they sell really affordable food like onigiri or sushi, and you can get a sushi roll for 1 to 2 euros, and the quality is excellent. And last but not least, you can get even more affordable food because if you go to supermarkets after 6 or 7 p.m., they have a lot of pre-made food, which they usually sell at a discount of up to 30, sometimes 50% in the evening before the supermarket closes. So if you want to grab a really, really affordable dinner, just go to the supermarket after 7 p.m. and you will get amazing deals. The next big item on my spend list was local transport, and I spent 127 euros for local transport. But here I also managed to save a lot of money because my accommodation also rented out bicycles. Well, they do rent them out on a daily basis, which is about, I think, around 1,200 yen per day. However, since I stayed for a month, I also asked for a monthly deal and I got one. So I actually rented my bicycle at a significant discount and only spent about 30 to 35 euros for the entire month. In these 122 euros for local transportation, I also included some weekend trips to nearby cities like Kobe and Nara and Osaka. So this is why it is actually a bit more expensive. On a regular day in Kyoto, I don't think I spent more than 2 euros for transportation. Next up is communication, which was basically Wi-Fi for my phone. I bought an eSIM card at UBG and it was very affordable. I think I had about maybe 9 gigabyte, and I spent 14 euros and 33 cents for the entire month. Of course, I also went shopping, but I really tried to limit my spending. So I only spent a total of 36 euros for shopping. And that was basically a pair of pens, a new wireless charger, and a tripod. Also, there's a special category which I only have in Japan, and that is coffee and canned drinks, because in Japan there are vending machines everywhere and there's so many cool drinks to try out. And I did try out a lot of them. And I spent about 24 euros for coffee and canned drinks. And the coffee is only so low because we had free coffee at the accommodation. Next up is activities, and I only spent 20 euros on activities. I did a lot of walking around, and I didn't really do anything where I had to pay for things, except for temples, because there are so many beautiful temples in Kyoto, and 1 month was definitely not enough to see them all. But usually the entrance fee for one of the famous temples is about 4 to 600 yen, so around 3 or 4 euros, which is relatively affordable. Last but not least, I have a other category, which is basically ATM fees, mosquito lotions, all the other stuff that doesn't really fit anywhere else. But that was really very, very little. Like I only spent 6.5 euros the entire month on these other things. I did exclude my flight tickets to get to Japan, and I also excluded my health insurance, which would probably be another like 50 euros a month. And that's it. That's everything I spent in 1 month in Kyoto, which comes to a total of about 1,007 euros, which is, I'd say, not too bad. And if I really wanted to, I think I could spend under 1,000 euros. But yeah, tell me what you think. Is it expensive? Is it more than you thought? Is it less than you thought? And how much do you think you would need in Japan? Because I think I lived a relatively low budget lifestyle as I was working while staying in Japan. So I didn't really have time to spend much money. But I think if you're actually traveling, you are more likely to spend more money than me. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, and subscribe to the channel if you're interested to see more videos like this one. And I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!